Hello and welcome to Bear Care Corner. It is officially May, which means it is a very, very busy month, and we've had a really busy few weeks. So I'm going to give you some updates. Folks have been asking about Bobbie. We'll go check in on her. About Nancy, we just got some news. I just got off the phone with his vet actually, so I'll talk about him. The garden is getting started, and we just started sheep shearing, so kind of everything all at once as usual. So I'm just going to go around and chat about all of those things. So here is our garden. You might have seen it before. The volunteers worked really, really hard on the weekend to get the beds filled with wonderful compost. Our volunteer Susan is checking on some arugula that she kind of experimentally planted a few weeks ago, and then it snowed, but it still came up, so that was really cool. We're experimenting with starting the beds earlier. She's putting in some spinach soon because it's pretty tolerant to cold, because the overnights are still kind of cool even though we're getting into plus 20 degrees Celsius this week. So that's a little garden update, and stay tuned to watch everything grow. Nothing's in here yet. This year we're trying a lot of new things. Susan is a garden expert who's going to be doing lots of fun things, so stay tuned for those updates. I'm really excited about the garden this year, and we're doing more seedling, so that should buy us lots of time, because usually we have a pretty short growing season here in Campbellville, Ontario, Canada. So here's Abraham, who is kind of half shorn at this point. It was just me and one other caregiver, so to be able to do his underside and his chest safely, we need 3 people total, so we're going to finish him up another day. This took about half an hour to get him sheared on the top here, and we've started with him. He's a bigger boy and doesn't do as well in the heat, and we're constantly checking the weather, and coming up within a day or two, we start to have a bunch of days where it's plus 20 degrees or more. We have a bunch back to back, at least 5 days in a row. So we know he's not gonna love that. So we started shearing him. Sometimes we don't do our residents all in the same session because they're stressed out or something happens. So he's half sheared. You can see how much wool he had. And he's loving the scratches right now because he can actually feel them now that his wool's gone. So that is first little bit of May, really depending on the weather and the heat. So we are getting some hot days coming up, which will require our sheep to start getting sheared. He's following me now because he wants scratches. So I'm here with Bobbie. Her wonderful volunteer Susan got her whole bowl of grass. So if you haven't really followed what's going on with her for the last, I guess, month and a half at this point, she was going into heat and then bleeding, which is not normal for her going into heat, and that happened 2 heat cycles in a row. So by the second one, we sent her to OVC. We sent her back to OVC the first time she was there. They couldn't do imaging without sedation, and she does so poorly under sedation, we opted to not do imaging at that point. But because it happened again, the bleeding happened again, we decided to send her back in. And that was last Wednesday she was there, Thursday. They sedated her and did some internal imaging, which showed a mass. With her age and the fact that she's unspayed, it wouldn't be uncommon for her to develop a reproductive mass or a reproductive tumor, an ovarian tumor. But they couldn't locate exactly where the mass was. It's either in her uterus or it's in her abdomen. So she's going to go back to determine the location. The location, if it's in her uterus, they will do a surgery to remove. If it's in her abdomen, it might be a little bit more complicated depending on the location, if there's any organs involved. So she's going back to determine where exactly the tumor is located with a different type of imaging, a different type of ultrasound, while she's sedated for that ultrasound. If they determine in that moment where it is and if it's operable, she's going to go right into surgery. So that kind of saves her from 2 more sedations. It'll just be 1. She's already sedated for the ultrasound, and then she'll go right into surgery if it's deemed operable. So that's where she's at. When she came back on, it was Friday, I believe, after her sedation on Thursday, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, I'm losing track of it, she woke up and did really poorly with her mobility. We don't really understand why. She had trouble getting up, especially with her back end, and they thought it was just kind of a reaction to the sedation, but a few days later it was kind of the same situation. She's having a hard time standing. She had a really hard time unloading coming back here, and she's kind of been resting ever since. So that's where she's at right now. Originally we were thinking this week we would send her back for imaging and potential surgery, but because of the state she's currently in, and she's been mostly laying down and resting, it won't be for another week or so before we actually send her back. We didn't expect her mobility to be so affected. She's not able to get up on her own right now, but we are able to put, we use a blanket. That one we did earlier 2 times. So they got her up yesterday for the first time in a few days. When she came back, we let her rest. She was very dehydrated. Her muscles were so sore and she was so tired. We just kind of let her rest, gave her so much watermelon and prune juice and grass and everything, and massages, and just time alone to recuperate. And then yesterday the caregivers got her up for about 20 minutes, and today we got her up in the morning for about 20 minutes, and then again midday she was up on her feet for about 50 minutes. So that was the most so far that she's been up, but we're still letting her rest, and because of that reaction she won't be going back as soon as we thought. So that's her update. So we're hoping that the imaging shows something that is treatable for her, and we will keep you posted. Stay tuned on Bear Care Corner and Barnside Chats for updates on Bobbie, and thank you so much for your well wishes. I know everybody is asking about her and they're concerned about her, so thank you so much. So this week Bobbie won't be going in. We thought she would be, but we're still going to let her rest and recuperate and hopefully get her mobility back. But we do have Nancy going in. I'll talk about him in a sec. And I was just walking by and I realized Moose is going in. So he has just a regular teeth floating happening, which means they're sedating him and kind of leveling out his molars because he is older and has some dental issues sometimes. So that's just a regular every 6 months at OVC. He has a little appointment, so he'll be going in on Wednesday. I'm back in Bunnytown where Nancy, Mary, and Sunny are living. Here you can see above me Kevin and his team are starting to set up an area that is avian flu safe, which is covered, and then the sides will be done tomorrow. It's looking kind of open right now, but it'll be all done so they can get back outside. They've been, like the other birds, have been locked in for just over a month because we're still concerned about avian influenza, and the variation that's going around right now is highly pathogenic. So to keep the birds safe, we were keeping them in, but now we don't know when this avian flu pandemic is going to be over. So we've set up some kind of temporary outdoor spaces for all the birds. So Dolly's house is done. They've been going out for about a week. Same with the duck coop, similar amount of time. And starting tomorrow, these folks can go out as well. So I'm going to talk about Nancy and his updates for his surgery this week. So this is where Nancy, Mary, and Sunny live. They live separate from the other chickens because they are very prone to gaining weight quickly. They're just finishing their dinner. And I'm just outside because to go in and handle them and to be in there, I would need to suit up. We were doing scrubs that we change out of and boot covers, so just going to watch from a distance. Just got off the phone with Nancy's vet. Close that up for now. And originally actually last week, we were going to bring him right into surgery to remove the rest of his wing. If you haven't been following his story, he had an infection, an infected feather follicle on his right wing that didn't respond to any treatment or any antibiotics for over 4 months. So a biopsy was taken, and it was revealed that there was cancer there. That's why it wasn't healing. So we did a partial amputation of the wing. It was about half of it, and histopathology afterwards showed that there was actually more cancer than expected in the whole wing. which means he will require a surgery to remove the entire wing. So that is actually happening in a few days. Instead of going right into surgery, the vet actually recommended that we do a CT scan to make sure that the cancer hadn't spread before we did the rest of the wing, because in that case that would be a whole other situation. It might require radiation or other kind of cancer treatment rather than just an amputation of the wing. Just got off the phone. The CT scan showed that there's no spread. It's very local. It's a skin cancer, but it's further up than they originally amputated, because when they did the first amputation, that was just to get rid of the infected area, and they didn't know there was cancer there until afterwards. They had no idea, because the original biopsy showed no cancer. So that was the whole kind of his whole journey with this. So he's going in a few days. It's obviously May because the bugs are coming out. He's going in a few days for his hopefully last surgery of the year. In January he had a surgery to remove skin cancer on his back end. So that was his first surgery, and we thought that was it. We were like, he's cancer free, amazing. And then we did the wing, and that was a partial amputation. And then once it was discovered that that wing actually had more cancer cells further up, he's requiring a full amputation. So this will be his third surgery this year, which is a lot for a bigger, older bird. So we're hoping he does well. He had moments in his previous surgeries of blood loss and some heart issues, so we're really hoping that he does well. So that's what's going on this week with Nancy. I'm out in Bunnytown, but I can hear Ray hears me out here talking to myself, and you can't see him, but he's just over that rock wall, and he's like honking at me right now. So I think I should go talk to him. As I suspected, Ray was waiting at the rock wall because he could hear me. Hi, bud. Hi. Hi. Ooh, what are you doing? He's so handsome. There's a lot of flies out now. Oh my goodness. That's Ray. My update on Ray is that he's still extremely handsome. And there's just like a lot of flies right now. It's that time of year when there's these like little gnats that just fly directly into your eyes, and they're out right now. And they last about 2 weeks. That's a pretty exciting 2 weeks starting today. Hi, Ray. That's our beautiful barn. The sun is kind of setting. He's gonna come follow me. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for your love and support for our residents. I'll keep everybody posted. You can see Bear Care Corner videos every Tuesday. I'll see you next time.